In the spring of 1919, New Orleans received a letter. It was dated from hell. It was written by a killer who called himself a demon. It contained a promise that would turn the city into a stage. On one night, at exactly 15 minutes past midnight, he would walk the streets. He would enter homes. He would swing his axe. Unless the people inside played jazz. The city had never danced like it danced that night. Not for joy, for survival. This is the story of the Axeman of New Orleans. A mystery unsolved for over a century. The year was 1918. The Great War was ending. But in New Orleans, a different terror was beginning. The killer came in darkness. He moved through back alleys, through shadows. He chose homes with back doors. Italian grocers. Working families. People who slept deeply. His first victims were Joseph and Catherine Maggio. On May 23rd, they went to sleep above their grocery store. They never woke up. The killer removed a wooden panel from their back door. He moved through their home in silence. He found a straight razor and cut their throats. Then he found an axe and struck them both. He changed his clothes, left his bloody garments, and vanished. Joseph survived long enough to be found by his brothers. He died minutes later. Catherine was already gone. Police searched poorly. Days later, the razor was found on a neighbor's lawn. Andrew Maggio, the razor's owner, lived next door. He claimed he was too drunk to hear anything. But no evidence held. He was released. A month later, the Axeman struck again. Louis Bessumer and Harriet Lowe were attacked. Both survived. Harriet's face was permanently paralyzed. Then Joseph Romano, a barber, was killed. August 1918. Same method, same axe, same silence. The city understood this was a pattern. A predator was hunting New Orleans. The victims were mostly Italian. Newspapers whispered mafia, but evidence pointed nowhere. No witnesses, no fingerprints, no motive, just bloody axes and broken families. People locked their doors, bought weapons, slept in shifts. Fear crawled through every neighborhood. Then came March 1919. On March 8th, the Axeman crossed the river to Gretna. He entered the home of Charles and Rosie Cortimiglia. They slept with their 2-year-old daughter Mary. The axe swung. Charles was struck multiple times. Rosie was struck. Little Mary died instantly. Neighbors found them. Rosie, barely conscious, whimpered her daughter's name. At the hospital, police pressured Rosie. Was it your neighbors, the Giordanos? They were business rivals. Rosie, disoriented and in pain, finally said yes. Frank Giordano was 17. His father, Irlando, was 67. They were arrested, tried, convicted. Frank was sentenced to hang. Irlando was sentenced to life. There was no evidence except Rosie's words. And Rosie was lying. 9 months later, Rosie walked into the Times-Picayune. She said she'd had a dream. St. Joseph told her to tell the truth. She hadn't seen the attackers. She'd been pressured. The men were released. But their year in prison could never be returned. The real killer remained free. 3 days after the Cortimiglia attack, a letter arrived at the Times-Picayune. Postmarked New Orleans. Dated, Hell, March 13th, 1919. It began, I am not a human being, but a demon from the hottest hell. I am what you call the Axeman. Then came the proposition. At 12:15 on Tuesday night, he would pass over New Orleans. Every home with a jazz band would be spared. Those who did not jazz it out would get the axe. The newspaper published the letter on March 16th. The city read it everywhere. Tuesday night came, March 18th. As darkness fell, New Orleans transformed. Dance halls overflowed. Families crowded around phonographs. Amateurs pulled out dusty instruments. Trumpets, trombones, kazoos, anything that made sound. On every block, jazz poured through windows into the night. Outside, streets were empty. Gas lamps flickered. Shadows seemed to move. Clocks ticked toward 12:15. Inside, families huddled together. Eyes on doors, on windows. Music playing, hearts pounding. 12:15 arrived. The city held its breath. Nothing happened. Minutes passed. An hour. No axe swung. No one died. The Axeman had kept his word. Or someone else had. Morning broke with relief. People emerged laughing, embracing. A composer wrote, the mysterious Axeman's Jazz. It sold 10,000 copies. But the Axeman wasn't finished. In August, Steve Boca was attacked. He survived. In September, Sarah Lawman was attacked. She survived. Then October 27, 1919, the final victim, Mike Pepitone, a father of 6. He slept in his home. The Axeman entered. The axe swung. Pepitone was killed. Then silence. No more attacks. The Axeman vanished as mysteriously as he appeared. In 1921, a woman in Los Angeles walked up to a man on the street. She raised a gun. She fired. The man fell dead. Her name was Esther Pepitone, Mike Pepitone's widow. The man was Joseph Manfra. She claimed he confessed to killing her husband. She claimed he was the Axeman, but records are murky. Some say the shooting never happened. Some say the Axeman was a jazz club owner. Some say it was a woman. Some say it was no one, just a legend. The truth died with the killer. 100 years later, the Axeman remains unidentified, unsolved, uncaught. 6 people dead, an entire city terrorized. A letter that made jazz the soundtrack of survival. The French Quarter still plays jazz every night. Tourists dance. Musicians fill the streets. But somewhere in the shadows, a phantom still walks. A demon from the hottest hell. A killer who loved jazz. And on quiet nights, when the music stops, New Orleans still remembers. The Axeman was never caught, and the mystery endures.